Well, welcome all, and thanks to the captains for coming along.
Nice early start.
You never know who's going to turn up as captains these days. But it's terrific. Look, as far as variety goes, this is a great partnership for us. It sort of allows us to tell more people what variety actually do, but it also shines a light on the great work that the two clubs do with their community programs. So we're thrilled to be involved. For us, they're always special weeks. Look forward to them, and just hope we have another great showdown. The two last year were exceptional games of footy, and second one this year I hope is very similar. So fire away. Or do you want to say something first, Rory? No?
Same nice early start for us. So.
Yeah, good one, mate.
I suppose, Rory, first off, what's the feeling like heading to the showdown, given you're really tough loss against Geelong on Friday night?
Yeah, obviously come in today, this morning, catch up and probably review the Geelong game because we didn't play the way we wanted to, I suppose, especially for that second half. So I'd imagine the boys are pretty pumped to get up and get ready for a big showdown, definitely.
There's a few positives to take out of the game Friday.
Yeah, I mean, I was really happy with the way we started and the attitude we went into the game with. But yeah, there was the positives in that first half were just outweighed by the way we sort of ended up playing in that second half.
Tommy, what do you make of Chad after you lost on the weekend? It plays an emotional team. That you get up for the big ones and you don't get up for the not big ones.
Yeah, we've probably got to own and accept that. We've been an inconsistent team for a long time, so we're doing everything we can to stamp that out, but at the moment that seems to be the case. So fortunately this week's usually a pretty emotional one. It's a big build-up and a great week, so I dare say we'll bounce back.
Are there tangible differences that you notice as a player, like the week before when you get up at the top of the ladder and then you roll out on Saturday night against 15th? Are there things that happen differently before the game, during the week?
Yeah, that's been the tough thing because we feel like we've been really consistent. Our training standard's been great for a long time. Our mental mindset, at least outwardly, has been exactly the same. We're approaching the games, the way we did the week before against Geelong, and then to dish up a first quarter performance and a whole game performance like that, it's become a little bit baffling. And obviously we don't know the answer right now, so we're just working on what we can control.
Why do you think you ride that emotion so much? I mean, why are you such an emotional team?
Nah, I can't tell you that, mate. We've definitely got the capability, and at times we find the right mix. It's just doing it consistently, and obviously it's a pretty tough competition. You got to show up every week, otherwise you don't get the result you're after.
Can you shed that emotion? Do you think? Is there a way to move past putting so much?
Yeah, I think we got to do it repeatedly, and the more we can execute, taking emotion and the highs and lows of the game out of it, the better we'll become at it. You look at teams that just become systematic in their approach, and they're usually the ones that come the end of the year are still standing.
You think there's scope for a change or two this week, especially given what a few boys in the Magpies did?
Yeah, it was outstanding performance in the Maggies, so that was very pleasing. Obviously you saw what Rocky dished up, and Westy went back there and enjoyed kicking the burley around, so there's pressure for spots again, which is great. So those boys will be definitely in line for recall, as well as obviously the blokes coming back from suspension. They were significant parts of our team, so Dougal and Carl will be there, so there'll be some tough decisions to be made.
I know you're not a selector, but do you have an idea of what the Port's best team looks like? Not necessarily this week, but just in general with all those boys that have been named in the twos?
Oh, you definitely see Paddy, Rocky and Westy in our best 22. They've been around for so long and they're such a high calibre of player. Obviously a little bit out of form or coming back from injury, so give them a little bit of time, but they're in our best 22, and young talent like Dougal Howard and the running power of Carl Oman's always very valuable as well.
After the game, Ken was pretty honest, calling him untrustworthy and unreliable. How much does that sting, A, I guess you as a leader, and B, the wider playing group?
Obviously it's disappointing, but Kenny's not saying anything that we don't already recognise. When we walk off the ground after a disappointing defeat, having gone win-loss for a fair while, we know the reality, so he's just saying what we're thinking.
Rory's got to change for you guys as well, and Lynchy looks like he should be okay, and Junior with his back.
Yeah, both those guys, I think, are looking like they could return, which would be handy. Tommy's such an important player for us, I think. I mean, his link and connection between the mids and forwards, and the backs and forwards too, is pivotal for us. And yeah, Wayne's run and outside balance is probably something we missed on the weekend too, because I thought we cracked in on the weekend, but Geelong just obviously a deep midfield, but some runners on the outside that I reckon got us in the end.
Rory, just to what Tom spoke about before, are you guys sort of on guard against the really fired up Port Adelaide in the Showdown this week? They're coming off their loss and everyone's sort of putting the spotlight on them. You're more wary than ever what they might dish up.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've still got to review the Geelong game and get some learnings out of that, because our performance wasn't up to scratch either. So look, always wary of Port, especially in showdowns. I mean, you go back across every showdown, so they're always brutal games, they're always tough games, and you know it's going to be hot because both teams, there's a bit of pride on the line, South Australia pride on the line, and that's why we love playing them, because they are that finals-like atmosphere. So regardless of the result on the weekend, it's always going to be a hot game.
How's your co-skipper's tennis elbow?
He's tennis elbow. I think he did it in a smother, actually. I was right in front of him, but I think it's all right. I think he'll be fine this week, but obviously see how it pulls up the next couple of days.
Rory, are you carrying any injuries after the showdown earlier in the year?
I'm fine, actually. I feel great at the moment.
Yeah, and I didn't play the first showdown, so I'm all good from that one. But feeling cherry ripe. Had a few weeks off a while ago, so good for it.
I had a whole year almost off last year, so that's kept me fresh this year, I reckon.
Rory, where do you see Port's biggest strengths, I suppose?
Look, their run and their contested ball work. I watched some of that Geelong game, and that was very impressive. They're obviously got a very deep midfield as well, and that was probably where we lowered ourselves on the weekend. I thought as a whole midfield group we got beaten against Geelong. So, I mean, every week you come up against some cracking mids, and you got Bokey, you got Wines, and Boke's been some unbelievable form this year too. So there's some guys in there we're going to have to take control of.
Ken Elsie, is he a good chance to come back this week?
Yeah, I think so too. And he's a big boy that we've certainly loved having in our midfield this season, and what he provides is a stack of pressure and ability to win that contested ball as well.
Tommy, after the game, Ken spoke about the forward efficiency, and I think he kicked 5 goals from 68 or 69 inside 50s. It's been an issue a few times this season. How do you go fixing that efficiency going forward, whether it's the kick going in or the final set shot?
Yeah, it has been an issue. I think the weekend was probably a little bit different given the conditions. Obviously, there were opportunities when we may have been able to control the ball a little bit better, but if you were there, it was pretty torrential and it was genuine wet weather footy. So it almost would have been better had there been a little bit more slingshot at times, just to give us some space to operate in, because we're trying to go through sort of 30 players. But something we work on weekly is that connection between the mids and the forwards, and giving them the best chance to maximise our entries. Obviously, deep entries are a lot more effective, so that's something we'll look into.
Given those conditions, is it harder to pull up after a game like that? Are you genuinely sore?
You are generally a little bit sore, but when you're playing AFL week in, week out, everyone's going to have niggles and a little bit of soreness. And if you look across the weekend, there are a lot of wet weather games, and it's just something we deal with week to week. It doesn't have any bearing on the next week's performance.
Do you think training will be modified to have a lighter week on the track to counter for that, all those contests you were at on the weekend?
No, I don't think so. Given a 7-day break, that's pretty standard for us. So we'll train Tuesday and Thursday, and there'll be no worries.
So if you looked up Ollie Wine's conditions in the dictionary, probably looks a bit something like it did on the weekend, just 12 touches to your co-captain. What sort of response would you expect from him this week? Yeah,
he's a really proud guy, Wal. So he was hurting a bit after the game, but being a leader of the club, it goes beyond what he produces. So he was disappointed in that, but he also gets out of his own individual game and helps others with theirs. So I'd expect a massive response. He'll be buzzing around the club, helping others, but also working on his own game, and he'll be eager to bounce back.
Given some of the big calls made this year, is there a few boys looking over their shoulder this week with selection?
Yeah, like I touched on before, there's a fair bit of selection pressure, so we didn't perform at AFL level, and the Magpies had a really convincing victory against North Adelaide, so there'll definitely be some selection issues.
Ollie fully fit?
Yeah.
It's just taking some time to get used to it.
Yeah, I think when you miss such a large amount of footy as he has, he obviously missed a lot of pre-season and then 4 weeks at the start of the year and you know, another patch of 5 or 6 weeks. It's going to take its toll. AFL is obviously a pretty demanding game and sometimes it takes you a couple of games to adjust to that. As
Respective co-captains coming off losses ahead of the biggest event in town, what will be your message to your playing groups this week?
I suppose there's obviously a lot on the line in a showdown, but you talked about emotion and wanting to take the emotion out of it, so naturally there's going to be a little bit of it around, but it's about sticking to our processes and bouncing back after last week. And obviously being a showdown, it's going to be a tough contested game, which is what the Crows bring, what we'll need to bring to beat them.
Yeah, we started well, had the right attitude last week and played the footy we wanted to, and it'll be about doing that for 4 quarters pretty much. Sounds simple, but doing that for longer than what we did on the weekend, because yeah, it feels good and when we're out there playing that type of footy, and it's really clear when we don't play that standard of footy that we know we're capable of, so that'll be the message.
You got a tip, Rob?
Be careful.
Yeah, yeah. No, it'd be really interesting.
Just the politician.
I'll say
It's the politician coming out.
but I think what I've learnt, like everyone else over the years, the showdown's form doesn't seem to matter. It's just who turns up on the night. And Port have got that win-loss going, so you know, they're a chance.
Thanks, boys. All good?